In this lesson, we're going to go over the SMART or meaningful bullets that I use in my bullet journal practice. Reminder, there's a class resource with a quick glance list of these building blocks, including the SMART bullets. The goal of these bullets is to help add shorthand context to the information we're writing down. They also enable us to quickly scan our entries and discern undone tasks from completed tasks, from notes, and whatever else. Starting with a single dot is a task or something that requires action. Once the action is complete, the dot gets crossed out for an X. The nice thing here is a dot isn't always asking me to fully complete a task. They simply let me know action is required. Sometimes it's a reminder to schedule the task in my calendar, or a reminder to migrate the information somewhere else in the bullet journal, all of which result in the dot getting crossed off. So for example, a dot with wash the dishes is simply a task that needs to be completed. It stays a dot until I wash the dishes and cross it off. A dot with girls' night November 13th at 7 p.m. is a task that needs to be added to my calendar or future spread. Once it's safely scheduled, it can be crossed off, even though the girls' night is still on the horizon. A dot with grateful for Stevie the Wonder Dog is intended for my gratitude spread and simply needs to be migrated there before being checked off. The dot is an elegant solution as it can be changed into other symbols and it easily stands out from the noise, meaning when I'm scanning my pages, it's easy for my eyes to see open dots and therefore find and migrate unfinished tasks that need my attention. Sometimes in my monthly spread, especially in the beginning of the month when it feels like nothing's actually getting done, I like to circle the dot to denote that it's been started or is in progress. Bullet journaling doesn't demand you be a productivity machine, so there's no shame when dots remain dots. To keep things from falling through the cracks, we've got a handy move that turns the dot into an arrow that denotes, I got migrated. Migration just means something got intentionally moved somewhere else, whether that's simply to the next day or to a different spread entirely. How do I know I put off bookkeeping for 3 months? Because in May, June, and July, my bookkeeping task had a little arrow next to it until August comes and a big satisfying X says, take that IRS, you'll receive your payment on time and for the correct amount, thank you. Another type of bullet is a hollow circle, which is an event logged. It's just something that happened. These are mostly written in my daily spreads and can range from things I did, like went for a morning walk, to things that simply happened. Like test results are back, cholesterol is looking better. These little guys may seem less important than the task dot, but this is a great reminder that life is more than tasks to be completed. It feels great to cross off a task dot, don't get me wrong, but when I'm reflecting in my book, it's those hollow circles that really get all my attention and really paint the story of my life. It can feel silly at first to write down what feels like arbitrary observations and happenings, but as you get used to it, you find literally all of our life is arbitrary observations and happenings, and some of it is even worth noting down and trying to remember. Even the seemingly banal stuff. I jot down conversations I eavesdrop on in public. I note down when bunnies, lizards, and birds appear in our yard, and people I talk to on the phone with. They are the details of my life. A dash is just a note. It doesn't necessarily denote anything happened or needs to happen. It's just a note. Sometimes it's combined, so an event will be logged with a circle and some notes about the event will be indented with dashes. Sometimes something seems important to write down, but then it isn't. A sneaky, powerful modifier for these instances is a clean and simple strike through. At first, I was viscerally against this idea of crossing off things in my journal, but 4 months in, let me tell you, strike through is a wonderful power to wield. Strike through is advanced discernment at play and shamelessly says, this is no longer important to me, which makes it all the more easier to recognize and focus on what is important to us. If I write a task down over and over month after month and I realize that there's no urgent need to actually get it done, I just cross it off with a smile. If the idea is really so great and meant for me, it will come up again and I can write it down again. For now, I don't need its dead weight staring at me. Lastly, I have a few modifiers I use to make information even easier for me to take in. The first is an exclamation point, usually used to the left of a task dot. It adds emphasis and priority. When I complete the task, I cross off the dot and put a slash through the exclamation point. I don't use them terribly often, which helps them keep their power. To me, the exclamation point says, girl, I am not kidding. I really want to get this done. I have spreads dedicated to gratitude entries, so I use a heart modifier next to the task dot or just by itself as a bullet to help me quickly scan for gratitude entries. The dot stays a dot until the item has actually been migrated to the gratitude spread. Similarly, I have a shopping list spread and also a running digital shopping list my husband and I use, so a little dollar sign is really helpful to locate items I thought of during the day that would live better on a shopping list. And lastly, I'll use 3 ellipses when I'm continuing a topic from a previous page, as this saves room and time from having to rewrite entire headings. Now that we've covered sort of the nuts and bolts of the bullet journal, there's just one more element to bring in to tie it all together, and that's migration, which we'll talk about in the next lesson.